I split 100 ARK players across 4 biomes and let them battle to the death to see which civilization is the strongest of all. Will they make peace or will they wage war? You will be watching 100 players simulate primitive civilization in ARK Survival Evolved. Let's get into it. First up is the preparation stage. Each team will have time to gather resources. The desert team started strong by uniting and searching for a base location.
Let's go, guys! Let's go, guys! Let's go! Attack!
Run for your life!
A small group of Highlanders began by meeting at the lighthouse and tribing out,
I'm just promoting everyone to admin real quick.
while others split off to gather resources and tame dinos. The Flatlanders started their journey by knocking out a pterodon. They then crafted a boat in order to group up with the rest of the team beyond the water. The mainlanders began to split up from each other, so players attempted to group up in a cave.
The base location it's not in the Viking Bay cave, it's the one behind it.
The Highlanders then grouped up with each other inside the waterfall cave. They brought their tames and resources with them.
We need to start refining metal. I already started it.
They began to refine metal in their refining forges in order to help construct the base. They had also tamed an equus. Over at the Flatlands, players began to kill wild animals so they could gather meat and hide. They also started taming more pterodons so they could fly around. The team had started construction on a boat where they had refining forges and a smithy. It was going very well for them. Over at the desert team, they had set up in a very large cave. They had fires built, as well as a small crafting station with refining forges and a smithy. A taming group also went outside the base and started to tame a direwolf.
No,
Don't let him don't let him die.
Don't kill it, don't kill it, don't kill it. I'm inside. It's not
After
there.
a very close call, they managed to knock it out with bats and arrows. Over at the mainlands, a player named ARK, who played in previous videos, was taking charge.
I am the mighty Valhazak.
Oh my god, Valhazar's in here.
Our Lord and Savior.
Then a player decided to run around with a dodo for 5 minutes straight, and I'm really not sure why.
I shall make sure no man is left behind.
The mainlands tribe was looking good, and they were all very inspired by ARK. Over at the Highlands, progress was looking good. They had some more refining forges, some more equises, and had also started work on building the main gate. A player had made some spikes, as well as making a large gate. They had interior walls in which they'd used to defend from ground raids. One of the players, named Wes, began hitting a rock.
I'm trying to farm metal, bruv, and I've been hitting this rock for about 10 years.
He then continued to sit there for about 5 minutes until the rock was broken.
There we are.
After that, he then ran and did his usual daily business. Over at the mainlands, progress was looking good. They had a large wall with a gate covering it, a lot of refining forges, and most of their players were out gathering resources for the rest of the team. Progress was looking great for the mainlanders. The desert team was looking good. They had tamed some daedons, had some fires going, and they'd also crafted a relatively large crafting area. They were the first team to have a fabricator, as well as a lot of storage boxes. Over the Flatlands, most of their efforts were focused on taming. They had a lot of PTs, and they started taming a Stegosaurus. All-round progress of their team was looking pretty good. However, I'd heard a rumour of a player going to get wyvern eggs. And indeed, that rumour was true. They had wyvern eggs, and they were high level. This was a team not to be messed with. Over at the mainlands, their team was working very hard. They had an Allosaurus, a Triceratops, and an RG. They had also set up crop plots for plant eggs, as well as pipelines. Inside the base was Megalosauruses. Metal refinement was also going very well. One of their players, however, decided to sit on a chair in the corner of the base, and he did this for, I'm not joking, about half an hour straight. Other players ran up to him and wondered what he was doing, but he just stayed silent the entire time. Back to the building, the mainlanders had 2 massive areas of gates set up to defend from ground attacks. One on the bottom and one on the top. They were seriously defended. Over at the Highlands, pillars were set up to place Plant X on top for defense. Inside their base, it was looking pretty good. They had 2 gates set up, as well as a large refinement area inside and an election podium, which they would use to host their election. The Highlands were at the moment the best built base, as their aesthetics were amazing. Over at the desert, some players got on Daedons and rushed back to their base, as I told them the election stage would start very soon. Next up is the election stage. Each team would be told to elect a leader. The Highlanders were first up as they already had a podium.
The elections are here! Go to the stage!
They began lining up to see who would go first.
I'm going last, bro. I'm going last.
Nah, I got
Nah,
last.
bro, I'm going last.
I got you.
Everybody quiet.
Alright. We all have problems, alright? But me, I know how to put you not where your problems are. Alright, so we got the one guy working Smithy. He's gonna stay there. He's gonna run everything in the base with the forges. Alright. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get everybody together. You're gonna show me what you're good at. We're gonna do it, and then we're gonna take down China. And build a great wall. Great wall. Alright.
Now you go against South because wasting my time.
In the meanwhile of this election, the Flatlanders had built a very nice base. It was a castle-looking area with a little election podium on the side. One of their players had also set up chairs and a taxidermy area for the election candidates to stand on. It was looking very good at the Flatlanders. Back over at the Highlands, it was time for another speech, and this one was not very good.
We will be the Alphans. We will be victors. We will rule this world. Who else? Who else but Highlands? Who else but Highlands? Who else can rule this? What other aliens can take this from us? This is our land. Nobody else is gonna take this. We own this. We own this ARK. Nobody will take this from us if you put me as leader. I will make sure. Anyways, that's it. Thank you.
What do you have with fucking aliens?
Back over at the Flatlanders base, it was time for their first candidate to speak.
My fellow trimates, if you vote for me, I will lead you to victory. But I can't do it without the cooperation. I can only do it with the cooperation of you and everyone else. This is not a one-man team. This is a tribe. We stick together, we fight together, we win together. What I ask for is to cooperate. Fuck. I can't read sometimes. That is my speech. Thank you.
Woo!
Well done.
I like that.
Over at the desert, they decided just to have one player speak. This was a player called J-Mids.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Oasis, we have had many trials and tribulations as of far. We've worked well together as a team, and sure, there may be marks on our heads because of a foolish decision I made last night at 4 PM. But that also means that there's an opportunity for violence. Basically, vote for me, and violence will then be an answer.
The desert was now ready to raid. They had Daedons, Direwolves, and a lot of PTs. They were ready and angry to raid. Back over at the Highlands, a player named Wes gave a proper speech.
Right.
Back to Brazil.
Mic testing. 1 2 1 2.
We hear you.
Sweet. I think I should be leader because I will make sure that we will win. I have 4,800 hours in this game. Bit sad, but I have it. And I'll make sure that our defences are proper, everything's made with love and care. We have the best tames, the best wyverns, even though my wyvern got stolen. Whoever done that, I'm going to murk you. And I'll make sure we have the best treatment.
No, fuck you!
Fuck you!
Each candidate then decided to stand on a box and see who'd be elected leader.
Voodoo's leader!
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
It was decided that their first candidate speaking, Voodoo, was the leader of the Highland team. Back over at the Flatlands was the second candidate.
Alright, let's hear the speech, man.
Go for it.
Survivors, tribesmate. We are good players. We know our shit. We have made all of this in so little time without absolute organization. Everyone going around doing what he thought was best. And this is good, but is not the best. What we need is organization. Point is, I can do that. I am going to organize us from a tribe of survivors, from a tribe of winners. Who is with me?
I reckon I'm gonna vote for the new king. Like this guy knows what he's
Yeah,
talking
me
about.
too.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
Type it in tribe chat.
Even though I thought the speech was pretty cool, they decided to go for the first candidate, the new king. Over at the mainlands, ARK was speaking, and he requested a special offer to speak to the whole server, so I granted it.
Attention, my fellow ARK players, and to the entire ARK. Hear my proclamation. I am ARK, Emperor to the throne of the Vale. I know a lot of you have fought beside me, and I know a lot of you have a willingness to strive for a better future. But I also know that our enemies don't have the strive we do. We have the strength, the intellect, and the will to achieve our goals. And last, our enemies shall be but mere pigs to the slaughter when we fight. They shall not survive fighting us on the field of combat. For I am ARK, and I state this. This is a declaration of war on all the other tribes. You will be slaughtered. And just so you know, I've got an inside man on all of your tribes. Have fun.
And that was it. ARK stated to every single tribe on the server he had an inside man and he was ready to fight all of them. However, one of the players named German was not happy about this. He began holding out a rocket launcher in the center.
Put the rocket launcher down, guys.
That explosion just killed 10 of the mainland's members. It was not looking good. Next up is the Peace or War stage, where each team can do exactly as they please. Over at the mainlands, after suffering serious casualties, ARK and his very small group decided their best bet was to go and raid the Highlands. They started preparing straight away. The Flatlands team wanted to show their power. They had 2 Wyverns, 2 Griffins, and a level 180 Giga. They decided their best bet was to go and attack the Desert Tribe. Over at the Highlands, someone was raiding them.
Watch out.
This turned out to be an insider that left early game, and he then came around with a Wyvern and started attacking the Highlands base. After the real Highlanders realised this, their best player Wes came out on a Wyvern and started scaring them off. However, they came back. But when they did, Wes managed to use his Wyvern to kill them and their Wyvern. The Highlanders were now safe. As the Flatlanders left their base, it turned out that a Special Operations Desert team has moved in. They started shooting rockets straight away and was doing serious damage. Over at the desert, the Flanders have ruined their entire raid.
I killed a wyvern.
They had spawned in a crowd giga and it was unconscious. This ruined the entire raid and the desert didn't even know they were outside their front door. Over at the Flatlands, the desert were breaking through. They had rockets and were shooting many of them. The main Flatland gate was being broken down, as well as Plant X being destroyed very quickly. After the desert team had used most of their rockets, they destroyed the main gate to the Flatland base. 4 racers came charging through. Luckily, the Flatlands had pillars up which actually helped the desert team, and they managed to get flamethrowers and kill all of the racers. Back over at the desert base, they finally started to realise they were getting raided.
They're attacking us still.
I think we should go defend the base.
So after maybe deciding to defend the base, they sent all their Daedons to attack the Rexes, and they were actually doing really well. The desert team had managed to defend from Wyverns, they killed the Giga, and were doing amazingly. The bad thing is, the Flatlands were nearly fully dead. Over at their base they got raided, and over here they got demolished. There was very few Flatlanders that managed to escape on some Wyverns. This team would have to go by themselves and organise their own group.
To your right.
After the desert were nearly inside the Flatlanders base, they decided to try and tank the Plant X.
Watch out, guys, watch out.
Their best bet was to go in a PT and fly straight into a hole in the base. Players managed to get in, but there was animals. They decided their best bet was to grapple to the ceiling, shoot the animals and kill them. They thought they'd be safe. However, a player named Bomber misjudged this. He was getting killed because he was not high enough, and eventually, he died. This meant there was only one desert player inside the base, because the others had no pterodons to get inside. In the end, this player actually managed to kill all the inside dinos, and that was it. They had won over the Flatlanders. Over at the Highlands base, a sacrifice was to be made. Valhazark, their loyal leader, decided he would go in for one last shot. He stacked up cluster grenades, went to the Highlands base, and began throwing. The rest of his team was on the way, but Valhazark had no time to wait. He was going for a full-on sacrifice where he would most likely die. The Highlanders got stressed, and they decided they would move straight outside their base and pick Valhazark with a PT. He was brought down and killed by the Plantex.
Was my attempt.
This was the end of Valhazark's legacy. He was completely dead, and all that was left was a few players from his mainland team. After the mainlanders had arrived, they were looking to win, but they were also not looking to win because they had cryo-sicknessed all their dinos straight outside the Highlanders' base. The Highlanders saw this, however, and did the appropriate response. They deployed 2 Wyvern units to go and attack the mainlanders. The mainlanders had no idea this was even happening, and it was too late. They were already in. Their Wyverns started attacking all the dinos, setting them on fire and killing literally every single one of them. One mainlander managed to go back to his Wyvern, get on it and try and defend. The other was close by. He was moving in, but it was already too late. The Highlanders had killed every single one of the ground dinos. After a while later, some mainlanders arrived with a small backup of Rexes. The mainlanders had deployed their Rexes and they were moving straight in. They also had a Wyvern going above the Plant X, and the Plant X was firing like crazy. The Highlanders were actually getting really stressed at this point and ended up backing off for a second. Due to the sheer power of the Plant X, they managed to kill both the Rexes and, very unfortunately, kill the Wyvern. The mainlanders were completely dead. Valhazark's legacy is gone. Straight after, it was the time for the second attack, the desert team. There was only a few players, however, they did have a very high level Wyvern and rockets. They started firing at the Highlands base, and these people did a lot of damage to the Plantex. They had destroyed nearly all the defense out the front, and they were doing really well. The desert team also managed to kill a Highlander with an RPG. The Highlanders were actually scared at this point, and one of them even got knocked out.
He knocked me out,
After this knockout, the other Highlander on their speedy Rex decided to protect this man as much as possible. He was over the body just as a Griffin tried to attack. The desert team actually did really well in this raid, but the Highlands stood strong. A member of the team tried escaping, but the speedy Rex was too speedy and managed to kill him. There was one desert player left. This was the man with a rocket launcher, lots of rockets, and full flak. He ran away from this speedy Rex, trying to kill it with rockets. He got very close. In the end, he actually managed to kill the PT, and there was a player on ground and a player on the Rex, but he couldn't outrun the speedy Rex. This was the end of the desert team. The Highlanders, still standing strong, decided to wait inside their base with their gates open. They had a minigun turret, and in came the Flatlanders.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
After being seriously pressured,
Fuck!
they managed to defend off from the Flatlanders pretty well. They had their miniguns and they were shooting the Wyverns. They killed the Wyvern, and there was only one player remaining. This player was on a Griffin. He went straight in and the minigun started firing. The Griffin was killed and the player was left on foot. He tried to run away, but they knew exactly where he was.
3v1.
It was a 3v1 at this point, and the Highlanders ran over to him. A minigun ended his life. This meant the Highlanders had managed to win the entire event. Every team was dead except them. Congratulations to the last 3 Highland players for going this far. If you would ever like to join these events, there will be a Discord in the comments below. Also, please like, subscribe, and you'll be notified when the next one's out.